Welcome back to FastMonty's Garage. Today is episode 4 of our mini tub project on my 69 GTO, utilizing ABC Performance's frame modification kit and mini tubs. If you're not familiar with ABC Performance, they make suspension upgrades for almost all A bodies. Go check out their website, and this kit in particular is for 68 through 72. If you have 64 through 67, it's like 90% of the same work of everything I'm doing today. But what's unique about the entire thing is I'm doing with the body on the frame, because most of us have completed cars and want fatter tires back there. So yeah, this is how you do it with the body on the frame. Now, today's episode in particular is about finishing off our frame. These 3 pieces are going to be added. I mean, look at this gusset. How killer is that? The frame is going to be stronger than stock when we're done, which I'm excited about. And part of today's project as well is removing the spring perch. There it is. What? Oh, this is from the passenger side. If you missed it, episode 1, I already did the passenger side, and I'll show you the before tubbing and after tubbing dimensions so you can fit 335 or even 345 tires in your A body. Imagine that, right? Yeah, pretty exciting. I cannot wait to get rolling, literally. Now, also in episode 1, chance to win a free hat. Go check it out if you haven't yet. The rules are in that video. I announce the winner when we do our final video, which are upper coilover mount installation. I will announce the winner, so you have time. You can actually go in there and edit your prior comment if you've rethought your answer. Not to worry though. If you don't like winning free stuff, you can still buy it. There's a shirt link down there. There's also a join button to join the channel, be a member. I release videos a few days before I release them to public to members only. And shirts. Check out the shirts and the sweatshirt down there. New shirts are just like this one, where it's wrenches as the stripes, nuts as the stars, but I put it on the back, an FMG logo on the front. I can't wait. I ordered shirts. They're not here yet. Believe me, I'll show them off when I get them. Now, all proceeds from any of that go to the channel, buying more parts, doing more videos for you guys to learn from my mistakes, because none of this is free and sure as hell ain't cheap. So please subscribe, click that notification bell, because there's several more videos on this playlist alone and several more big projects in my head for my 69 GTO. So having said all that, go check out episode 1 again. It's right there, but let's get going and show you what tools you need. Real quick, I'll be utilizing a cutoff wheel today, flap disc grinding, plasma cutter, which is optional, and yes, Welder's MIG welder. This new plasma cutter cuts up to 5/8 inch material. So far, I love it. I've always been using the Yes Welder MIG welder. There's a discount code below and a link, because I just noticed they have a MIG welder with a plasma cutter built in. Like, how cool is that? So I'll be jealous if you guys get that. Okay, I'm done with that. Let's start the shop clock and get under the car. Order sequence today, we're going to cut our assembly out for our spring perch and shock mount, because we need to fit our brand new C-channel in that area to make a brand new boxed in assembly. And obviously we're going to have to remove our cross brace we put in for support on the last episode. Then we'll put in a new support in the lower corner. And the very last step is to put our fancy dancy gusset in right in the back. And that's what makes this frame so much stronger than stock. So let's get to it. I'm going to mark up where we're going to cut and get to cutting. Before we cut it out, I would definitely mark where you see fit. Maybe you want to put it back in. Take some measurements, measure the height from your body to your shock mount if you want to reuse that location. I'm going to have to make notes for this location. That's where my coilover goes. As for cutting, I'm going to get as close to the cross member as possible on the back with a cutting wheel. Just go along this bend. Then I can shave it back to match that profile. On the back, I'll probably plasma cut the back from the other side, so that should be fun. And then cutting wheel down this corner, and that should remove this bracket completely. I'm trying to keep it as neat as possible, just in case I won't want to reuse it, which is totally possible. So from the outside, the frame kind of mimics this depression where the spring perch meets the frame. So I'm going to try and cut along that bend, either with the plasma or my cutting wheel, and come straight over. And you can see where I cut from the bottom side of the cutting wheel to here. And I could actually reach it from this side as well, like that. So between the two, we'll get it out. I can't even get like that spot. Okay, plasma. Oh yeah, I could totally reach that. Ah, that worked. Little update, I had to grind all those welds down that were holding that bracket on, and cleaned up the bottom from that hangly dangly piece we had last time. And now the first test fit, I already have to make a modification because this little hangly dangly over here is going to hit the 2x6, so I'm actually just a ½ inch short. So I'm going to cut that in half. And the second thing I'd like to do is on the top here, is just continue this cut to the side so we can weld from this side, because welding this seam would be impossible with the body on. So I'm going to change that. There we go, that should work. More metalworking fun. I got it mocked up pretty close. It is not on there, don't worry, because there's some interference spots. So I marked it with my Sharpie right there. Even though that's ground back, I'm gonna have to take relief off that corner. And let's go look at it from outboard. So right there might be an issue. We'll keep an eye on it, but see, we got plenty of room here. So if we go down, that means that plate has to shift about a degree. And if it does shift a degree, we have room on top. And might have to shave a little bit off right here. But we're getting really close. That's metalworking for you. Try and try again. We are in, boys and girls. Look at that. I had to take some relief in a couple spots, and to be honest with you, I also had to get my attitude adjuster on the floor pan a little bit just to get the rail up and on. Not a big deal. This is all Dynamat covered on the inside. Probably can't even see it. Now, go ahead and mark your spots where you need to remove material to weld. I'd also go ahead and flush out the weld on the back side here, or on the outer rail. This is something to weld to. Take this off, put our weld through primer on the back of this plate as well as the existing frame. Slap it back on, clamp it in place, and we'll start welding. Here's after grinding those welds off. Oh, it's so pretty. But I wanted to show you something before we box it in. That is how thin this outer rail is. That's why that 3/16 plate is so necessary, and to box it in with this kit to add that strength. And it even gets thin down here. This is why we have that lower plate we're going to put on after this one. Let's get to welding. Okay, I'm using 3 clamps here. I am flush on the back sides where I can see. I'm also flush where those plug welds are. Go ahead and tack every 6 inches and then tackle those plug welds. Take the clamps off, and then we can start stitch welding. So I'm going to go ahead and start the clock and get to work. Time to start stitch welding. And if you don't know what that is, it's like tack welds, successive tack welds, and only go about 2 inches. Don't worry, I'm going to show you. Another handy thing to do is to blow it off after you're done to cool it down, because you're going to want to jump to different spots. You do not want to stay in one spot for too long, and cooling it down helps because you prevent warpage, etc., etc. Let me show you a stitch weld. There you have it. That was real time. And as you can tell, it looks so neat when you do it right. I did like a 50% overlap, if you can think of it that way. And that's how you do it. So cool it off, jump around different spots of the frame, get it all in, and we'll go to the next step. There we have it. There's only a couple anomalies that happened, and that's where I had to bridge that big gap. Remember how thin it was back here? But all in all, man, I don't even have to grind this down. This looks fantastic. Let's go to the next step. Before we get started on this corner, a little teaser for you guys trying to win a hat from episode 1. We're gonna go ahead and time, and I'll show you the time in this video of putting this corner in. Not to worry, I already primed it, so that doesn't count. But I'm gonna go ahead and time this little portion of the project to give you guys a good sense of how long these little things take. And you can even go back and edit your comment in video 1. You still have a couple videos to go. Remember, when I released that last video, contest is over. So, having said that, let's go. So go ahead and loosen up your brake line, move it out of the way. And your fuel line, you probably have a fuel line running here too. FYI, this is where it goes. We want to pay particular attention to this surface for the rear trailing arm. Do not want to mount it over that, and you want to be flush or recessed so you can get the trailing arm in there. So right here is a good spot where we can weld, and you have to look for points of impact. So right here, I'm going to trim that because it's touching, and then back here, it's also hitting, so we got to trim this. Yep, like I said, nothing straightforward. Get to trimming. Here's the problem we're solving. See how thin that is right here? Bam. Just like that. Now I get to clean everything and start welding. This is right where you want to clamp it because it's perfectly flat right here on the frame. Back in here, it's not flat. And then here's what you get. It's perfectly flush. See that? Now I get to weld. Off. Yes! Here we go, let's have some fun. Nice. We're in. Now, some of my welds are actually pretty good here. I have not included post-op grinding, but we are at a little over an hour and a half. Not too bad, not too bad. I think we're gonna do the same test on our fancy gusset that we're gonna put in next. And I already primed it, so it's not part of the clock. Let's go do it. So this thing has like a little weird sharp angle there on the longer side that actually goes up on the cross brace of the frame in that area right here, up here. And you should be touching almost at every point along that rail. Now the issue here is I'm not comfortable with this distance from the body. So we're gonna have to shave some of the edges and start playing with it to drop it down to say a 1/2 inch clearance. And keep in mind, you need to still get your welder in there. We can weld from the back because we don't have any body over there yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim some of each corner and play with the fitting. Then mark my areas, clean the paint off with my new Makita, and go from there. We are in, boys and girls. It was tough to see the brake lines in the way, but that took almost 50 minutes. Not too bad. After you're done with majority of your welding and grinding, you really need to coat that material or it's going to oxidize super fast. There's 3 different products I typically go to. One is called Afterblast from Eastwood. PR15 makes a metal prep, and another one called Piclex. They're all basically a phosphoric acid of some sort, and when they touch steel, they protect the steel. They leave a nice zinc phosphate coating, and it protects it for a long time. You could even paint PR15 on any of these. The PR15 product, though, you have to wash off with water. I think it's a little bit more aggressive than these two. But the most important thing, cover your area. So I have cardboard laid down. If this stuff touches cement, it's going to eat it immediately and stain it for good. Believe me, I already tried washing it off. It doesn't come off. So wear protective stuff on your eyes and your hands, coat it, and then we can go to the next step, which is putting the tub in. So thanks for hanging out. Don't forget, you can go back to the first episode and edit your response for how long it takes for this entire project to get a free hat. But until next time, building fast, driving faster. See ya.